Hello and welcome back to the Eyes of Old Gaming channel. Thank you for checking out this video. Today I have a new review showcase for you. This one is a little bit different than my typical older game reviews. For this review we are taking a look at an add-on expansion rather than a full release game. I will still follow the same similar format as my usual reviews, avoiding spoilers as much as possible and trying to remain objective throughout the first portion of the video. As usual, I'm not going to give a number rating. For example, 3 stars or 8 out of 10 or something like that, as I find all of this style of rating completely arbitrary when looking at a subjective product like video games. This way you can make up your own mind as to whether or not this is worth it for you to pick up for yourself. Stay on until the final part of the video to hear my own opinion of the game, if I enjoyed it personally, and if I would recommend picking it up. The main difference from full reviews is that I will leave out a few things such as game comparisons, as this will be covered in the main game review. Once the full game video is uploaded, I will make sure there are links in the description or on the screen depending on where you're watching this. With that out of the way, let's move on to the review. Did you ever wish there was a Rambo game that wasn't this Rambo game? Well, you are almost in luck. Today we are looking at Hours of Darkness, an add-on DLC pack for Far Cry 5. Hours of Darkness is the first of 3 episodic DLC add-ons that were released back in 2018, being developed and published by Ubisoft. Even though this is simply an expansion to the main Far Cry 5 game, I have decided to do a, as much as possible, spoiler-free review or showcase of the DLC to see how it is held up and if it's still worth picking up for a first-time player. And more importantly, if this one is worth it for you. So as I mentioned, this is a DLC for Far Cry 5, and to me it really feels like the Rambo game that we never got. Why is that? Well, the game puts us in control of the protagonist Wendell Redler, and you will end up behind enemy lines during the Vietnam War. It will be your job to reach the extraction point, completing as many challenges as possible along the way.
Python 2-5, read you loud and clear. This is Firebase Echo. A flight of Navy fighters reported seeing your crash site 5 clicks due west of us. We got our hands full here. You gotta come to us for extraction.
These range from freeing your fellow soldiers to taking out enemy officers and liberating enemy camps. You could essentially make a beeline for the extraction right after taking care of a few mandatory objectives, but it's definitely advisable to do as many of these side objectives as possible, at the completion of the game being rewarded with a screen which shows your accomplishments that you made throughout.
These guys just won't give up.
Mechanically, the game will feel very much like Far Cry 5. The key difference is that stealth is king in this one. Stealth typically is a core aspect of Far Cry, but in this one in particular, it feels almost mandatory. You get survival skills bonuses that give you advantages as you play, but the trick is, to unlock them, you'll be required to take out enemies without being spotted, which essentially requires you to use as much stealth to your advantage as possible. Also, who doesn't like to roleplay as Rambo creeping through the bush with a bow and arrow? Graphics are still great, again very much the same as Far Cry 5 in terms of quality, but with a landscape all its own. This takes place back during the Vietnam War, so expect period-specific weapons, and although much more limited than a feature Far Cry title, vehicles. The environment is unique as you will essentially be trekking through Vietnamese jungle while hunted by enemy soldiers. One thing to mention is that the enemy AI is really not very smart at all. For some reason, I felt that it was even worse than the main Far Cry 5 title in its ability to notice and attack you. It could be that your skills which you gain from stealth kills are just that OP, however, it felt like I could essentially dance around enemies without them taking notice. The bow and arrow is also extremely overpowered, allowing you to take out just about every enemy camp undetected by yourself. Once you free your fellow soldiers, they do behave as guns for hire like in the main title, with the key exception that they do have a permadeath feature. If they get killed along the way, they are not making it out and won't respawn. If they're gunned down, you do have the chance to revive them, but of course you need to be quick. The one thing that was personally very frustrating for me was that the only bug I encountered during my playthrough was when an ally glitched into a vehicle just before it exploded, rendering me unable to even attempt to revive. My advice is if you want your buddies to make it out, it might be easiest to just unassign and not use them. However, a big chunk of the fun that I found was in ordering a companion to take out an enemy while I took out another, conducting sneak attacks on enemy positions in tandem. So we are going to cut this one a little bit shorter than my usual reviews, as this is not a full-length game, and we're just going to skip right to the subjective "Did I enjoy it?" portion. If you want to see comparable titles and other in-depth feature reviews, sit tight, as I do have a full review of Far Cry 5 coming, and this will apply to not only the main game but also the DLC add-ons. With that said, did I enjoy this, and would I recommend picking it up?
Yep.
Definitely. If you already own Far Cry 5, this is a great little add-on for the main game. Is this add-on worth buying Far Cry 5? It's hard to say. If you're already interested in the main game, this could be a really good sweetener, but do keep in mind this is not a full-length title, and actually it's rather short even for an expansion. I completed this one very quickly and was able to collect everything on the map, doing everything the add-on had to offer in just a few hours. It's definitely a fun few hours, but it is quite short, and you need to come into this with the right concept of what the game is. I hope you enjoyed this look at Far Cry 5's add-on Hours of Darkness. Have you played through this DLC already? What were your thoughts on it? And do you agree or disagree with my opinion? I would love to hear your takes on this down in the comments. Please also consider giving me a like on the video if you found this entertaining or informative at all. I also really appreciate if you consider subscribing to the channel. I upload a variety of gaming content and would be thrilled to have you join the community and help direct the future of the channel. Otherwise, thank you so much for taking the time to watch today, and until next time, take care.